Thank you for tuning back into the rivalry. I'm your host, Sean, along with my brother Mike, and today we are going to be previewing the Texans at Browns game, which is at First Energy Stadium at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The two quarterbacks that will obviously be facing off each other is Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield. So let's get into the topics.
How much of an impact will Nick Chubb and Austin Hooper returning have in this Sunday's game?
Nick Chubb's going to be huge coming back. Obviously, he's been hurt for a couple weeks now. Really, he's the offense that we have to run through him. Kareem Hunt's good, and he did a good job while Chubb was gone. But Kareem Hunt, I think, should still get about 60% of the carries. Maybe not have Chubb play all the game, but I do think give Hunt, the bulk of the carries and then try to involve Chubb more. Austin Hooper, I don't know. I mean, he's had a couple catches this year, but he hasn't been anything to write home about.
He's got the free agent signing that they probably hoped.
Yeah. But it is another body that is another threat, so maybe he'll have a better impact this game, but we'll see.
I don't think Nick Chubb will have basically any impact in this game, to tell you the truth. Cleveland already came out and said that they're going to be limiting his activity in Sunday's game. Austin Hooper, I'm assuming, will be going through the same thing, but he hasn't had that much impact. It's more been Harrison Bryant who's really been doing something. David Njoku hasn't done a damn thing. That dude just needs to be traded.
Yeah, he wanted off the team, and I hope he gets it because he can't catch the ball to save his life.
They can't trade him now. The trade deadline has passed, and they couldn't get anything that they wanted for him.
Pay him out. I don't care. Get him off the team.
Well, looking at the team's records right now, the Browns are 5-3. They lost. The last game they lost was 2 weeks ago against the Raiders. I mean, bad weather game. They were outcoached, outplayed. They got ran all over them. Texans are 2-6. They've only beaten the Jags 2 times, so I think obviously the Texans defense right now is just going to be the Browns' dream right now. Baker Mayfield, I don't think he's going to be insanely good, but I know he will do pretty good. I think at the most I'd give him probably 300 yards passing, and I think I'll probably have at least 2 or 3 touchdowns thrown. Running the ball, they'll probably have an additional 2 or 3 touchdowns. Texans defense isn't that good, but I know this game will be a shootout. Deshaun Watson is on the team, and he is the whole team. Will Fuller is not as great as people think he is. Randall Cobb is just old. Their O-line's horrid.
Which quarterback has to play better in this Sunday's matchup?
Deshaun Watson. And that's not even close because Deshaun Watson is the reason they win. And I don't know. They could lose 23-3, and they'll still find a way to throw 300 yards. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
He's definitely better than Baker.
He is.
There's no question.
I think he does way more with way less, and that's nothing against Baker, but I just think because the Browns have a way more complete offense, Baker doesn't have to be asked to. He doesn't have to throw 300 yards for us to win. He could throw for 100 yards a game, and we could win as long as we're running the ball well and our defense is playing well. But yeah, I think there's no question. It's got to be Deshaun Watson. He's got to win this game all by himself.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson has obviously been doing more with less. He has more passing yards, more touchdowns, less interceptions, higher completion percentage, although he does have a lower QBR by about literally 1 point.
Well, but when you're playing down by 20 every game, you're forced to make throws that maybe you normally wouldn't.
He makes every kind of throw. That's the thing, though. And Baker, obviously, he doesn't throw the ball as well as people probably think he does. He had a career-high 5 touchdowns against the Bengals, but it was the Bengals. And they also almost beat them. He didn't really do anything against the Raiders. I mean, that game was just kind of...
I think that
game was an outlier.
He played well enough for us to win. The problem is that our defense, without Myles Garrett, our defense looked like they never played a game in the NFL in their lives. It was one of the most embarrassing losses I think I've ever seen the Browns play.
I don't go that far, but
it is. I think it is. They just in every facet of the game they got outplayed.
They've lost 16 games in a row and they got outplayed, outcoached in every single one of those games. So I think
but
season is the most embarrassing.
They were in games though, so although they didn't win, they at least looked like they were giving some effort. The Browns didn't look like they gave any effort on defense. They didn't care.
Are the Browns a serious contender this year?
My answer, no. They won't make the playoffs this year, in my opinion. Unless the Ravens go on a losing streak, they are not going to be able to get the wild card spot from them.
Or if a game gets canceled, the NFL just said that the owners passed the...
to expand the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which I doubt.
Which would be 8
I doubt
teams.
games will get canceled, though. That's the thing.
It's not impossible.
But I doubt they will.
I think... Are they serious contenders in the playoffs or contenders to make the playoffs?
Both.
I think they're a serious contender to make the playoffs. If you think about it, I mean, they're still... I think they're like 8th in the AFC.
Yeah, but...
And there's 6 teams that make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, but their record's 5-3, which is good because they haven't been 500 in God knows how long.
Well, we're not going to win the division, and we're not going to be second in our division. So the only way
they basically have to rely on cancellation.
Not really.
Who are they gonna beat for that spot? They haven't won any division. They've only won 2 division games. Against both the Bengals. They have to be able to compete with the Steelers. They have to be able to compete with the Ravens, which they haven't been.
How many people can come out of a division
to be in the playoffs?
How many teams? Yeah.
Probably about 2 now. But if they expand it, maybe 3.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know, but I know they won't make the playoffs.
It
is a step in the right direction.
If they're in the top 6 records, it doesn't matter if we win the division.
Division does matter.
It does matter if you tie with somebody else, and it depends on your division record.
They have to tie or be better than Baltimore at this point.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
Because if they
the Ravens, Browns, and Steelers can make the playoffs.
Yeah, but here's what you need to understand: if they can't beat the Ravens or the Steelers and they go in the playoffs, how do you think that's going to fare? It's usually that one of the best teams...
It's a one game.
So it's usually that one of the best teams gets to face one of the worst teams. That's basically how the playoffs is. So basically,
but
whoever they face, they're probably going to get
the best team doesn't always win. In the NFL.
Yeah.
It's not basketball. It's one game.
Yeah, but you also have a rookie head coach who has made the playoffs. Yes, he's made it with the Vikings. But it's different when they could potentially somehow be facing the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs, the first round if they make it.
Yeah.
That's only if the Chiefs don't get number 1 seed in the AFC, which is still a possibility because the Steelers might not be able to play Ben Roethlisberger, and they better start Joshua Dobbs over Mason Rudolph because that dude's garbage.
Who are your X Factors for each team?
X Factor for Texans is obviously Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's literally the only player on the team. He's done everything with nothing. Got rid of DeAndre Hopkins because Bill O'Brien's probably the biggest dumbass of a GM I think I've ever seen and a head coach. Browns, I think Jarvis Landry because he basically has to take the lead on the receiving corps at this point. Rashard Higgins, yeah, he has to play well, but it's ultimately coming down to Jarvis Landry. Doesn't matter how well Baker does at this point. Kareem Hunt, he's going to be able to run all over them anyway, so it's not like it matters.
My X Factors are... I have the same as you. For the Texans, I got Deshaun Watson. There's no other person I could see that would be the reason that they win this game. And for the Browns, I would say their defensive line. I think if they just play decent, they don't even have to play that good. They just have to play good enough to get to Deshaun Watson, and we should be okay.
Yeah, but here's the problem: is they can get to Deshaun Watson, but that doesn't mean they'll sack him. He's probably one of the best sack avoiders in the league. Lamar barely gets touched, so it's not like he has to worry about it. But Deshaun Watson, there's literally countless times where there was even against the Raiders a few years ago when he got kicked literally right in the face, and then literally threw a TD pass with one eye in the red zone. He's also done it against Seattle. He's done it pretty much against every team. He's had a big sack that he's avoided, which is a problem because it doesn't seem like the Browns are able to tackle.
I think their biggest problem is that their defensive backs can't catch.
I think
that's their problem.
Yeah.
How many games have we watched that, like I said last podcast, one time in the beginning of the game and one time at the end, they always drop an interception. It's inevitable.
Well, they also dropped a big one on the first like the first or second drive of the game by the Raiders, Ronnie Harrison dropped, and that potentially probably could have been a pick six. I haven't gone back and watched the footage about it, but I'm pretty sure he had a wide open lane as soon as he picked it off to run for a touchdown.
Yep.
They also had Jarvis Landry also dropped it because he got smacked, but I mean he also was playing with a broken rib, so if you get hit by 3 people at once, obviously it's going to be very hard to catch.
Now for your predictions.
Right, so I obviously have the Browns winning this game. It's going to be a close game. I'd say the score is probably 26-24. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as people probably think it is, but Deshaun Watson's going to put up a fight. That's always going to happen. And I think the Browns are just going to kind of play conservative, kind of chew out the clock the whole time. Because, I mean, they also won't play that well because they also were coming off a loss against the Raiders, but they also had a bye week. And sometimes bye weeks are hard to come off of because you've had a whole week with just practice and not a hit, like an actual real-life game hit. So,
my prediction, I got the Browns 21-14. I just don't see... I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns put up 30+. But like you said, I think they'll just play conservative. I don't think they're going to try to do too much. I think we're really going to focus on just getting the running game back. I think we're really going to... It's just going to be a ground and pound game. Baker will throw it, but I just think with Chubb coming back, we're going to really kind of almost revamp the offense. You know, if you remember early in the season, we just ran the ball a lot, and which is something I like to see. So I think Chubb coming back will be good. And I don't really think they'll make too many big plays. I think the thing is just, like you said, keep the ball out of Deshaun Watson's hands. For the Texans,
this is going to be hard to do.
Well, it's not too hard when they can't block. So we'll see.
But when you have a guy like that sitting in the back.
Okay, but we'll see. I think the Texans, Deshaun Watson's gonna have to pull off some magic just to win. Like I said, they've only beaten the Jaguars, and that was twice, which isn't impressive. But at the same time, the Browns haven't really beaten anybody too impressive either.
They also beat the Jags the second time we beat them was when they had Jake Luton, which is a rookie QB, which actually he did play really well, but that doesn't matter because the Jags still lost.
Yep.
But yeah, basically Myles Garrett has to basically be the only person to sack Deshaun Watson that game. Olivier Vernon's not going to be able to do it. Yeah, the linebackers, I don't think... The problem is that they also have to be able to guard the run. As soon as like the running back gets past the first level of the D-line, the linebackers, besides B.J. Goodson, probably won't tackle anyone. The safeties are basically a joke besides Ronnie Harrison. He's actually been playing really well, and he's obviously the starter now over Carl Joseph. Anderson Dejo is a big mistake. He just can't do anything for his life. I guarantee at least one play this game, he's probably going to allow a 50 or 60 yard touchdown to Will Fuller. I won't say any other receiver because none of them can run as fast as he can. Because they're all basically either old or young and haven't proven anything. Alright, thank you guys so much for listening and tuning into this week's podcast. We will be sure to upload more and more. Also, be sure to check out some of our other content on our YouTube channel at the Finneran Brothers, obviously. And have a great day.